Chopin. He lived most of his life in France. Let me share the presentation so that it's just a couple of paragraphs about his life.
Yeah.
French Chopin. Let's read a little bit about his life, please. Mickey, can you read it, please?
Yes, sure.
Maybe I'll read one paragraph. Okay.
Frederick Chopin, 1810 to 1849. Oh my God.
39 years.
39 years, yeah.
It's little, right? It's not so much.
Nope. Was a Polish composer and virtuoso pianist of the Romantic era. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest composers for the piano and one of the most significant figures in the history of classical music. Chopin's compositions are known for their expressive depth, beautiful melodies, and technical challenges, particularly for the piano.
Yeah. And then you think why people can create such beautiful music in a short span of time? Do you think there must be something around them, surrounding them, that motivates them to express something so beautiful? What do you think about that, Mickey?
Yeah, I think that they they need or probably uh, they lived around people that probably creates music or that was involved uh, in something artistical probably.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Also, there was political unrest or political situations in Poland, so he had to leave Poland because of the pressure of Russia at that time. So he had to leave Poland and move to France, actually. That's why. Okay, let's read the second paragraph. Mickey, do you want to do it, please?
Yeah. Uh, Chopin was born in Poland, but spent a significant portion of his life in Paris, where he became a prominent figure in the city's artistic and intellectual circles. His works include solo piano compositions such as nocturnes, waltzes, polonaises, etudes, and ballets. He also composed chamber music and some pieces for piano and orchestra.
Some of the ballets are incredibly beautiful and not so easy to play, right? Like the ballet number one is extremely, extremely beautiful and very, very. It's a classic. Let's
Mhm.
read the next one, please, Mickey.
Yeah, Chopin's music often reflects his Polish heritage, incorporating elements of Polish folk music into his compositions. His innovative approach to harmony, rhythm, and form had a profound influence on later composers. Some of Chopin's most famous works include the Prelude in D-flat major, Op. 28 number 15, commonly known as the Raindrop Prelude, the Fantasie Impromptu, and the Ballet number 1 in G minor, Op. 23. Among many others, his music continues to be widely performed and celebrated around the world.
Yeah. Opus 23, for example, means obra. Opus 23, obra 23. That's the composition number 23 that he wrote. And the piece that I sent to you, the Prelude in flat major, is really beautiful. You can probably listen to it by
Yeah.
one of the nurse. It's really, really beautiful. Now, he was uh, in love with a lady by the name of George. Well, that was what do you call this? Pseudonym George Sand. George Sand. And let's see if you can find something about George Sand, please. Can you?
Yeah.
George Sand is apparently one of the Chopin's lovers. He was his girlfriend.
George Sand.
Yes. Can you read it? Or I don't know if you found it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it say, please?
Um, George Sand, born July 1st, 1804, Paris, France, and died June 8th, 1869. 1876 in Nohant. She was a French romantic writer known primarily for her so-called rustic novels. She was brought up at Nohant near La Châtelet in Berry, the country home of her grandmother. There she gained the profound love and understanding of the countryside that were to inform most of her works. In 1817 she was sent to a convent in Paris, where she acquired a mystical fervor that, though it soon abated, left its mark. In 1822, let me search if you say something about show. I found here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the list of her lovers was growing. Eventually, it included, among others, Prosper Mérimée, Alfred de Musset, and Frédéric Chopin. She remained impervious to Musset's theatrical views and Chopin's aristocratic prejudices, while the men whose options she adopted wholeheartedly, the philosopher Pierre Leroux was never her lover. The fact remains, however, that most of her early works, including Lelia, Mauprand, Espidion, and Les Espèces cordes de la Lyre, show the influence of, of one or another of the men with whom she associated.
Okay. So she was a lover or a friend of a girlfriend or had a romantic relationship with Frédéric Chopin. And there is a book about the life of Chopin which talks about her, which I didn't know is that she was also a proficient or prominent writer.
Yeah.
And it says that the reason why she chose the male pseudonym George Sand is to ensure that her works would be taken seriously in a male dominated literary world.
Mm,
Well, at that time, imagine in the 19th century,
yeah, of course.
and the relationship ended in 1847. That means, well, it lasted almost 20 years, 17 years. Well, when Chopin was 20, I guess. Yeah, Chopin was 20, and had already written many of his most beautiful works, like the Concert Number One and Concert Number Two, which are extremely beautiful pieces of art. All right. Well, that's Chopin. There is another pianist by the name of Franz Liszt. What do you know about Franz Liszt, Mickey?
French list.
Yeah, what do you know about him?
I think that well, the name sounds in my head, but I'm not sure if one of his compositions is called uh, Campanella or Campanella. I'm not sure.
Exactly, exactly right. Yes, the Campanella is a very beautiful piece, a very difficult technically speaking, but incredibly beautiful. He wrote it. Here it is. And, let me, mad. Then they force you to see them 15 seconds. Well, okay, here. I'll send it to you now. There it is, Mickey. Campanella. Yeah, he was a great composer too. And there is the Campanella. I already sent it to you.
Thank
He
you,
had an
sure.
interesting life too. He had a very interesting life as well. And let's see a little bit about his life. Hungarian composer, which was a pianist. And here it is, something about his life. Franz Liszt. Remember that piece that Tom and Jerry play in a piano in a cartoon
Yeah, yeah, of course.
about the Rhapsody? Well, that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
written by
By French list.
by Franz Liszt as well.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very very difficult piece, but very very nice, very festive, right? Okay. Okay, well, here is something about Franz Liszt. Let's see if you can write it, Mickey, please. Not write it, read it, please.
Yes, sure.
Franz Liszt.
Uh, Virtuoso pianist, Liszt was renowned for his exceptional skills as a pianist. He was a virtuoso who pushed the boundaries of piano technique, introducing innovations such as string virtuosity, intricate fingerings, and new ways of pedaling. His performances were known for their charisma and showmanship. Composer. In addition to his virtuosity as a performer, Liszt was a prolific composer. He composed in various genres, including piano works, orchestral pieces, choral compositions, and operas. Some of his well-known compositions include Hungarian, Hungarian Rhapsodies, Liebestrom, and Mephisto Waltzes.
Okay, very good.
Transcendental Etudes. Liszt's Transcendental Etudes are a set of piano compositions that are not only technically challenging, but also musically expressive. They showcase his innovative approach to piano writing. Influence
Okay.
on Romanticism. Liszt was a central figure in the Romantic movement, and his compositions often reflected the emotional intensity and individualism characteristic of the era. He also played a role in the development of symphonic poem, a form of orchestral music that tells a narrative or evokes a poetic idea. Weimar period. In the later part of his life, Liszt settled in Weimar, Germany, where he became the conductor of the Weimar Court Orchestra. During this time, he championed the works of other composers, including Richard Wagner, and Hector Berlioz.
Okay, that I didn't know.
Piano transcription. Liszt was known for his piano transcriptions of works by other composers, transforming orchestral and operatic pieces into virtuosic piano arrangements. His transcriptions helped popularize the music of other composers. Relationships. Liszt had various romantic relationships throughout his life. Notably, he had a significant relationship with the Countess Mary de Agoult, with whom he had three children, including the future French author Cosima Wagner.
Okay, interesting. And the last part.
Franz Liszt's impact on music extended beyond his compositions and performances. He also influenced the development of musical education and the role of the artist in society. His legacy endures, and his works continue to be celebrated and performed worldwide.
Yeah, there is I when I was a kid, I don't know if you ever had it, probably not, but when I had a kid, I had the idea that artists had a turbulent, sometimes chaotic, and normally they all ended in poverty. I thought, well, to be an artist should be bad because they all end in poverty, which was a stereotype, which was incorrect. And one of the people who precisely showed that I was wrong was Liszt, right? Liszt had a great life. He lived very well. He had abundance. He didn't die poor. So recently, not very long ago, I noticed that yeah, you don't have to die poor if you devote your life to art, which was I don't know why I had that. Maybe because the influence of uncles or family or friends that tell you, well, if you devote your time to art, you're gonna be poor, which is totally wrong, right? You can I mean, but so at that time, you had the influence of many people, and so they more or less prevented you or stopped you from doing this or don't do that, because then there's going to be economic chaos. Well, there is another person that belongs to this category, which is a very famous writer. I'm sure that you have heard about him, Johann Goethe. I don't know if you have heard of him, Goethe. Johann von Goethe.
No, teacher, I don't think so.
No, actually, let me share the name. Johann von Goethe. Okay, can you look him up, please, Mickey, and find out something about his life?
Yeah.
Because he's another person that apparently lived a very happy and buoyant life, and who was also very respected as a writer and poet. It's a German poet, I think. German writer.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe.
Von Goethe. Yeah.
Von Goethe. Yeah, he was born on August 28th, 1749 in Frankfurt am Main in Germany, and died in March 22 in the year of 1832 in Weimar, Saxe-Weimar, Germany. I don't know what is German too, right? German too.
German, yeah. Yeah.
He was a German poet, playwright, novelist, scientist, statesman, theater director, critic, and amateur artist, considered the greatest German literary figure of the modern era.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, well, he's considered one of the most brilliant minds among scientists, poets, literary workers. If you look up in the people with the highest intelligence in history,
Mm-hmm.
some of the evaluations point at him, right? So if you let's see, most intelligent people people in history. Many of the assessments include Goethe. Look, for example, Finance Online, the most intelligent people in history, with the highest IQ, uh, Dickens 13. Let me show you this. I'm gonna share the
Yes,
screen.
thank you. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna share the screen here, and that'll show. Let me show you this right now. Here, okay, here. So they put um, the 13 most intelligent people in the history of the world, and they put Charles Dickens, who was a writer,
Mm-hmm.
Raphael, who was a painter, Michel Faraday, who was a scientist, English scientist, Baruch Spinoza, who was a philosopher, Michelangelo, who was um, philosopher and painter, Erasmus, Desiderius Erasmus, theologian, social critic, humanist. I didn't know about him. Descartes, Descartes. That's why we have the Cartesian system in mathematics, remember?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Cartesian system. Galileo Galilei, you know who he was?
Mm-hmm.
A famous astronomer. John Stuart Mill, this is an English philosopher and political economist. Leibniz, Leibniz? He developed calculus, integral calculus. He's a
Mm.
mathematician. He developed calculus at the same time as Newton.
Ah, okay.
And well, they have Newton here. Physicist and mathematician. Da Vinci, 200. And they put Goethe in number one,
Wow.
which is amazing, right? It's incredible. But well, yeah, he was, oh, I didn't know this, he was involved. Well, let's see. Can you read the last part of about Goethe, or read all this explanation? It's very short, Mickey, please.
Yeah. The German poet, novelist, playwright, politician, and diplomat. He is best known for his literary works such as The Sorrows of John Werther, A Storm on Drunk, and Faust, although he is best regarded as a literary genius. Goethe was also involved in scientific studies, particularly in the field of natural science. He had a wide collection of minerals as part of his extensive studies in geology. Can you scroll a little bit?
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you. These people might appear remarkable and real, but genius is more prevalent than we imagine it to be. Everybody's a genius, so said Einstein, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a nice sentence, right? From
yeah, that's
Einstein.
true.
Yeah, that is very true, actually.
And for
So,
example, teacher,
yes.
how people measure the IQ of all all those people?
Well, that's a good question. Um, that's a very actually very good question. Very, very good question. I don't know the answer, but there must be a systematic way to do it. I think one of the how do you measure intelligence? Actually, that's a great question. What is intelligence for you, Mickey?
Um, well, I think that intelligence is probably the capability to solve problems and in different situations.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is very accurate, very accurate. But you don't only solve problems; you create. There are so many types of intelligences you can create. That's creative intelligence. Actually, let me look up for the definition of multiple intelligences. Multiple intelligences, and there is even a chart, yeah, like this. There is Garner's theory of multiple intelligences. According to Garner theory of intelligence, which is here, let me show this to you. What is Garner's theory of intelligence? I'll put it here. Let's see if you can read it, Mickey, please. I'll put it here. All right. Can you read it, please?
Yes, sure. What is Gardner's theory of intelligence? In order to capture the full range of abilities and talents that people possesses, Gardner theorized that people don't have just an intellectual capacity, but have many kinds of intelligence, including musical, interpersonal, spatial, visual, and linguistic intelligence.
What do you think of these categories? Uh,
Yeah, I think that I saw it in school, and I consider that it's accurate as a like the phrase that I think that Einstein said. Probably I'm bad for I don't know mathematics, but I have other capabilities in music or in interpersonal aspects. So I think that everybody has like their own type of intelligence, and I think that they must focus on developed that intelligence.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, and actually, many of us have multiple intelligences. For example, I'm sure you're going to have many, or maybe all of them, at different degrees of development. Maybe you have your an extremely high musical capacity or musical intelligence, and you are in the process of developing linguistic, spatial, visual. I mean, so it's the humans are so powerful to do things, right?
Yeah.
And let's see examples of each one. What is an example of intellectual capacity? How would you say, well, examples of intellectual capacity are this and this and this? What is intellectual capacity? Because sometimes we say, well, intellectual capacity is solving mathematical problems, but can be something more than that, right?
Yeah, I think that intellectual capacity is, as you mentioned, when people have the ability to solve problems, but a part of that, that they, uh, yeah, that they have the capacity to solve it not only in like in mathematical problems, in general, like have the ability to. see the different options and try to solve the problems as fast as they can.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Let me share some points that they consider as part of intellectual capacity. I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna start sharing the other item, which includes some many of the elements that you mentioned. So what you were mentioning actually is exactly right, and it is expressed here. Intellectual capacity includes some of these aspects. Can you maybe read them, Mickey, while I scroll down?
Yes, sure. Intellectual capacity. It includes memory, attention, perception, language, skills, and executive functions.
Yeah, this is not clear to me. When they say executive functions, maybe that you have the capacity to carry out things, not only to plan and plan and plan, but to execute,
Yeah, of course.
which is very important. Some people think and plan and dream and imagine, which is great. That's part of have fantasies. They fantasize about many things, but at the time of putting that in action, that's another story, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so if you have the
That's the hard
capacity,
part.
yeah, exactly. So you have the capacity to execute things. Well, that's a great, great achievement. Now, what do you think about musical capacity? What does it mean?
Musical capacity.
What is that exactly?
Yeah, I think that, for example, there are people that music in general, it's easier in comparison with other people. You know, like they can uh, understand the rhythms, understand the notes, understand the tempos, and and well, I think that probably I'm wrong, but I think that a person that has the musical capacity normally they are good in maths too, right? Because they can. I think that music is, um in a way, it's so related with maths too.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Because there is an intense math participation in music. In other words, music is math in a way.
Yeah.
Why? Because well, there is a sequence of that obeys mathematical. There is a mathematical expression for mathematical sounds for musical sounds, right? For example, pitch discrimination. What is this, Mickey? What is the pitch discrimination?
Pitch discrimination is, well, I'm not sure, but I think that is when. No, to be honest, I don't know. Sure.
Well, pitch is how high or how low the sound of the tone is. Like some sopranos can reach really high notes, some baritones also. Pavarotti was able to reach very high notes, and some other singers are able to sing very low notes,
Okay, okay. I got you.
right? The pitch. Um, they actually say that the pitch of the voice is associated with biological elements, but well, that's another story. But you can have a pitch discrimination. You can say no, that is a do, no, that is a fa, no, that is a g. You can
Mm,
discriminate. You have the ability to understand the rhythm perception, if it is very fast, is very slow, and that has something to do with how we talk, how we walk, how we do different rhythmical things when you do exercise. So the rhythm perception also is connected with our biology, right? Sometimes we talk too fast, sometimes we talk too slow.
yeah.
Obviously, it's subjective. What do you think about the rhythm perception, Mickey?
Mm, well, it's interesting. As you mentioned, I think that, for example, there are people who normally talks talks fast, and in comparison, uh, I think that there are people that normally takes like their tempo to speak, their poses, and and yeah, probably it influenced in music too.
Yeah. Uh, okay, here are some other elements you can see: sense of touch and effective manipulation of an instrument. And that can be a guitar, a violin, a flute, the piano itself, a cello, etc. The many, many, many musical instruments. Why this need to express yourself with music, Mickey? This is so ancient, has thousands of years. Music is produced with different instruments from different eras. Why that, you think?
Why music was created, or
Yes, yes, why music was created, why societies express with music from the old times. It's not something new. Let me close this thing. Why do you think music is a social expression, actually?
yeah, I think that well, music always. I think that try to express a feeling, or in occasions the way of thinking of certain situations. For example, we know that in the past, the type of music that, for example, I don't know, Beethoven or Mozart or Chopin was influenced by the situations that they passed, or the situations that in was happening in their countries, and I think that music helps to express like their opinions, or their way in how they feel about it, probably.
Surely, surely, yes. I think it's totally connected with what you're living, right? Why do we compose mariachi music in Mexico? Why do we compose this music with jaranas and the guapangos and festive music? Well, because it's part of our traditions, part of our culture, part of our, and then you have this interculturality too, right?
Yeah.
What other genres of music are typical of Mexico that people listen to them? Oh, that's Mexican music. What else is like typical from here?
Mm, like the I don't know how to say it, but mm, norteño music, or
Norteño
like
music,
the
yes.
band music.
Band music, yeah. You have the music from Durango, for example. You have music from typical from the folklore of the towns, Oaxaca,
Yeah.
right? Puebla, etc. So the music that is created also has a social aspect. It's not only that you create music without no influence or with no connection with anything. It is connected to the society or to the traditions and celebrations that you share or you enjoy. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sure, of course. Yeah, I think that I don't know, probably it's like a theory, but I think that, for example, in my family we normally listen jazz music, or music that is completely different than other genres like reggaeton, or or that
Yeah,
kind of genres. Probably if I will be a musician, probably I will do music like jazz, or like that type of music, because that is the kind of music that I was influenced by my family.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Actually, a friend recently invited me to a concert of jazz in Irequa Park.
Yeah, actually, I went yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
think
like it?
yeah, I started the last Wednesday, and I think it's gonna be until the this Sunday. I think so. Yeah, it's great because the weather was perfect. I think that before of the concert, it started raining, but then it just disappeared, and the weather was not cold, but it was like like this little freeze, and it was great, and the music was great too. And then there are like little places where they sell wine, or where they sell, I don't know, elotes, whatever. Like you can eat something while you are in the concert.
Yeah, that is just amazing. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that was this music. I went not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, and I probably was the same because they were from Guadalajara, and the music style is just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yesterday, I saw an artist. I think that she was from California, and, yeah, she sang like this. I think that is like blues, and it was great. And then a group called Agua Dulce or something like that. I think that they came from Guadalajara. It was like more experimental, like that, like this type of jazz, but more experimental with only instruments. And yeah, and it was fantastic. I don't know if I'll go tonight, but if I don't go tonight, probably I'll go tomorrow. I don't know, but I really enjoyed to go to attend to that place.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great. I think this one that you mentioned wasn't that with cello and a guitar, or a bass and a guitar. I don't know if it was a cello or a bass, but it was
Yeah,
similar.
a bass.
Okay, bass.
Mhm.
Okay, so it was that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw it. It was just amazing and more experimental, as you mentioned. Truly
Yeah,
nice. Huh?
it was great.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about. Thank you, Mickey. We are talking about the musical capacity, which is what you say: pitch discrimination, rhythm perception, ability to recognize musical elements, and that is connected with physical coordination, because to play an instrument you need some physical coordination,
Yeah, of
fine
course.
motor skills, and a sense of touch and expression. Well, but then we have the interpersonal intelligence, which many people have, as you know. Let's talk about it. What is involved in interpersonal intelligence, Mickey, according to this chart?
Mhm. Empathy, communication skills, conflict resolution, collaboration, leadership skills, social awareness, persuasion, building relationships, negotiation skills, and cultural sensitivity.
Sensitivity. All right.
Sensitivity.
Let's talk about empathy. Can you show me or tell me, describe a situation in which a person shows empathy for another one?
Mm, well, probably it's not like a specific example, but I think that empathy is when you put your feet in the feet of the others. Like you can understand the situation and understand why they are acting or why they are thinking in the way that they normally uh, they normally do.
Exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, there is a very short story here in which you can see Pepe and Paco. And let me put it here. I'm gonna copy that here. And this is another example, as you mentioned, Mickey, which is a good example.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm gonna put it here. Let me just I'll just reduce the font size. I'll put 15. I don't know if it's gonna fit or not. Well, let's see. Uh, Let me see if they fit. I'll make it fit. Oops, it didn't fit. Well, let me go to another place here. And now here we are. And I'll make it fit. Okay, it's not too long. There. Okay. Here. I, maybe it's too small, right? Can you read it, or I make the
Yeah,
font bigger?
yes, sure, no, don't worry.
Okay.
Uh, Pep and Paco have been inseparable since childhood, navigating life's twists and turns together. One day, as they stroll through the bustling market square, Pepe noticed an uncharacteristic quietness in Paco's usually animated demand. Oh my god.
Demeanor.
Yeah, I increased here the font. Yeah, demeanor.
Okay.
Uh, concern etched Pepe's face. Hey Paco, what's on your mind? He asked, his voice laced with empathy. Paco hesitated for a moment before confiding in Pepe about a recent family struggle. His normally bright eyes now held a hint of worry. Pepe listened attentively, his empathy turning into a silent understanding. In that moment, Pepe knew he had to be there for his friend, so, without uttering a word, he dragged an arm over Paco's shoulder, offering a comforting presence. They continued their walk, not in haste but in tandem. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Pepe spoke softly. Paco, remember, you're not alone. We'll figure out this out together. It was a simple promise, but one that resonated with the warmth of true friendship and the power of empathy.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what you were saying, right? You are able to understand a person's conflict, to understand a person's situation, to empathize with him is to, as you said, to put yourself in his shoes, right? You said
Yeah.
something like that. Well, that is incredibly important. You're able to have empathy for a person. That's extremely nice. That's interpersonal intelligence. What do you understand by communication skills, Mickey? What's communication skills?
Mm, well, I think that communication skills are so important. I think that it's the capacity to express your ideas correctly. Um, it's something that probably I think that I need to work because I think that probably I don't know an example. I'm good in something and I'm very good in that, but if people don't know about it, probably I don't know in a work or in whatever, probably they're not gonna hire me because they don't know that I'm good on that. So it is important to have like this capacity to communication uh, and to make the other people see that you are good uh, or that you are clear expressing your ideas.
Okay, okay. Well, I would say that that quality is called assertiveness, that you are assertive, that you express clearly and respectfully your own opinions and needs, right? And that
Yeah.
you are able to set boundaries. I don't know why you say that, Mickey. My personal perception is that you have this capacity very well developed, that you are very assertive and that you express your opinions clearly. And because of the examples that you have told during the class, that you are able to express the boundaries. Okay, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. But it's a very important comment, very important
Yeah,
topic.
thank you, sure.
So you mentioned verbal communication is one of the elements, right?
Yeah.
Verbal communication. What is verbal communication?
Um, well, verbal communication are the words that we normally say to express something in particular.
Okay, and how should that be? Do you think we should use cumbersome words, words that are difficult to interpret, to understand, or should we use clear, simple, common language?
I think that is depending in the context that you are. Uh,
Okay, examples, please. Like, for example,
yeah, I don't know. Probably if you're in a doctor's degree, obviously the language that you normally or the words that you're gonna use are different. That if you say the same topic to a high school or to a place that probably they don't have the knowledge to understand all the ideas or the words that you're saying.
well, I think what happens in any specialized topic, if you specialize yourself in music, in business, in science, technology,
Mhm.
there is a specific jargon. Jargon is the set of words that are part of that. If you say in a informal meal with friends, well, the Incoterms say this, and people say Incoterms. What, Mickey? What are the Incoterms? Then you express what that is, right?
Mhm.
If you say tariffs, tariffs. Oh, Mickey, what is a tariff? And then you explain to them, right? So I think that's what happens when you communicate in the informal setting. You use the language that is informal, but if you speak with a specialist on any specific topic, well, you need to use that language, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have talked a number of times about nonverbal communication. What do you understand by nonverbal communication, Mickey, which is also important?
Uh, I think that no, that in occasions our bodies express what our words normally don't. You know, for example, you can say "I'm happy," but if your tone of voice or the way in how you say it, the way in how your body is when you say that, it's completely different that that the phrase that you said. Probably you can detect if someone is lying or is just like acting.
Right. Haven't you seen those memes in which they say how to communicate effectively with a woman is obviously a little bit derogatory, but they say yes means no, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
no means.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, do it means if you do it, you die.
Hmm.
That means exactly the opposite of what the woman or lady is telling, right? Saying, right?
Yeah, that is completely right. Probably it's a language that I never can understand completely, but yeah.
Well, because it's body language, actually. That emphasizes that the words don't matter so much as the gestures, the posture, and this, what is body language, right? Eye contact. They don't want to look at you directly when they are suffering, when they are upset, or when they are sad, or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that eye contact is so important, and I think that, for example, uh, if we relate it to the body language, I don't know. I have like the perception when someone don't see you directly at your eyes, probably he feels insecure or he feels like probably he's not comfortable because
Right.
he cannot maintain the eye contact. I don't know. Probably it's just a theory, and because it happens to me that normally when I was nervous or I wasn't sure about it, normally, for example, in the school when I did a presentation, normally when when I didn't know the topic, it was difficult to me like seeing the eyes of the see the eyes of the people because I don't know. Probably I had like the fear that they can detect that I didn't know what I'm saying.
Well, could happen, right? And that has happened to all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that is, and it's funny that you mentioned it, but that is true. That has happened to all of us. Um, well, yeah, we have some additional topics about it, good communication, right? Let me communication intelligence. Um, what do you think about, for example, written communication, which is here? Written communication here. Written communication. What do you think about the written communication ability of some people?
yeah. I think that it's that is so interesting. Uh, I met people uh, that are so good to expressing their ideas, creating those ideas instead of saying those ideas, and and I think that it helps like to have like a clear um, and have a structure when you're doing a document or when you are doing writing whatever, probably a story or a document that you're going to sell to a company or whatever. I think that it's um, that is an intelligence that probably you can. Well, I think that all the intelligence you can develop it, but I think that the written communication it's it's so important, and in occasions I think that people don't take a lot of attention to that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Sometimes we don't think that is important, but it's actually the main source of strong and enduring relationships, and also, sadly, is part of many interpersonal problems that people don't communicate effectively.
Yeah, exactly. For example, I think that um, now that we normally talk about by using WhatsApp or these type of apps, it is so important to to have this creating communication, because in occasions you write something and the people can understand something completely different, just because you don't use the correct structure or the clarity to express what you're saying, and it can make completely misunderstood in comparison of what you really want to say.
Yeah, that is exactly right. What do you think about presenting information with confidence? Is it the same if you present information with confidence and poise compared to the opposite, which is presenting the information without confidence and with no poise, maybe being shy or being insecure, as you say? This is makes a difference. What do you think about this, Mickey?
Yeah, of course. I think that when you write something or you present something with the structure, with the clarity, um, with obviously with a good punctuation too, because when you see a document and you see that probably they have a lot of grammar mistakes, probably it's not something good, but you can think that probably the person that write that don't know about the topic or don't know about what really he's saying, and I think that it's important to give like this formal structure and this uh, what's this word? Yeah, well, this presence,
Formality, yeah.
formality. Yeah,
Presence, poise, yes.
yeah, it's important.
Yeah, exactly right, Mickey. Exactly right. Well, we have many elements of good communication which we constantly resort to. There is another element which I'm going to put here, which is effectively using visual aids to enhance understanding. Visual aids, why are they so important? Why are visual aids so important to enhance, to improve understanding of people?
Mm, well, I don't know. Probably there are people that don't know uh, how to read, and probably with these visual aids, it could be easier to express something important. I don't know. I don't know if if I'm correct, but the visual aids are like the signals in the streets, or am I?
Yeah, but not only that, it can be a picture like this, right?
Ah,
This is a picture that I got from internet, and it gives you a hint of the importance of communication. You can be talking about 1,000 topics,
mhm.
about different things, about different ideas, and if I didn't show you the name of the topic, only the picture, I'm sure that you would have understood. You would
Yeah,
have said, "Oh, the topic is communication." Yeah, right. So the visual aid also enhances understanding or helps people understand what the topic is about.
yeah, yeah. Now I understood. Yeah.
Okay, well, that is another element of good communication. And then, how about the different way people have to talk, and that you need to adapt yourself to the style of others? Have you seen people with different communication styles or different ways or styles of communicating?
Um, yeah, of course. I think um, that it's something that we normally do since we are kids. Probably the way in how you're gonna speak with your teachers, with your parents, is gonna be different. That the way in how you talk with your friends, or the way in how you talk with people from your with your same age. I think so. So. mm I think that it's important to
Yeah,
adapt the communication style, because if you speak in like the same way that you speak with your friends, with your family, probably there's gonna be a problem, or in the work, or in whatever, you know.
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That capacity to adapt your language, your yeah, everything that you say to a
Hmm.
specific situation is a great capacity, and, and it's necessary too, right?
Yeah, it's unnecessary. For example, yesterday I went My mom was invited to eat pozole, and
Okay.
we went with her, and the lady who made the pozole, she had two uh, two girls, and one of the girls brought her boyfriend, and this kid was it wasn't like unpolite, but the way how he speak, he using bad words, and he's like 17 years old. He he seems to my perception a little bit like immature. And,
Right.
I think that he probably needs to understand the different situations and understand the way how they need to speak. Because obviously I think that if you're speaking with the mom of your girlfriend, you need to show respect at least in their house.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that is a lack of capacity of understanding, yeah, to discriminate, to separate
Yeah.
the, the relevance that people have. It's like a lack of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't respect the lady. They don't think that it's important or something, right? It's lack of respect, and I think it's a serious problem because then that causes the opposite of empathy, right? That causes rejection and bad bad
Exactly.
feelings. Yeah. So yeah, it is what you're saying is a great example. Even saying you don't have to say a whole discourse or a whole speech. You can say a couple of words inappropriate in the wrong moment, and that's enough to spoil a situation, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It is so
Well,
important.
yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. And but then to be assertive, to say exactly what, for example, setting boundaries. Um,
Mhm.
Parents tell their kids, "Hey, that is not language. That is not appropriate here." They set boundaries to their kids, right?
Yeah.
Parents are very good at communicating what is good and what is not good, what is incorrect. What do you think about that, Mickey?
Yeah. Of course. Obviously, parents always, since you're a little kid, they give you like the boundaries of what is correct and what is not correct. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think that it's um, that it's important to establish boundaries in everything.
Right. Sometimes it's not easy. For example, in the situation that you tell me
Yeah.
about, who has the first of all, who has the authority to say or to correct a kid, say, hey, that is not language, or age, or something, right? Like sometimes when you, let's say, you go to a concert and people
Hmm.
start yelling and shouting and ha ha, ha laughing, somebody from the audience normally says, hey, shh, or some as noise to tell them to keep silence, right?
Hmm.
They are being assertive, not necessarily rude, but they say, hey, shh, silence, or right. If I told you an example many times, we were in the US in the university, and a girl threw a piece of paper to the no, one of us, not me, but one of us threw a piece of paper to the ground.
Hmm.
A lady who was 16, 17 years old, no more than that, she was a youngster. She
Hmm.
does, hey, you dropped the paper there, like she's pretending that it was an accident, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of
But in
course. Mhm.
reality, she was being assertive, and she told us, hey, you are damaging the environment.
Of course. Yeah, and I think that more in actuality, it's sometimes difficult to be assertive. For example, I went to the match between Leon and America the
Yes.
last Wednesday, and they started to, well, they want to fight. Obviously, people that was in the crowd, just because one person screamed the goal of America, of
Okay.
the and it was like, oh my god, how is possible that you want to fight just because someone screamed the goal of their favorite team? Probably, uh, in this case, you cannot use assertiveness because people, it's, yeah. He's just
Violent.
exhausting. He's yeah, and and it's so difficult. I think to be assertiveness without know the other person because you don't know how the other person's gonna react.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that is also what you say. This type of intelligence, you understand the situation, and of course, you notice that if it can be, they can anger them, so you don't
Mm,
do anything, right? You repress it. That's probably the smart thing to do. It doesn't mean that to be assertive. That doesn't mean that you are not intelligent, right? You also discriminate the situation, and you say when you need to speak up, and when we need to keep silence.
yeah, of course. Yeah, and
That
apart,
is
obviously, it was so foolish because yeah, it was like 4 rows the down of the mine,
okay.
and yeah, just because this person screamed the goal of the America, the other one, how is it, shut up or
Shut him up.
China, and it was, oh my god, why you're doing that? People probably don't know how to use this communication and this intelligence because obviously if you're attending to a football match, you're gonna scream, you're gonna say whatever you want, and it's supposed that you have the liberty to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's uh, preposterous. But well, that's how society is at times and some places occasionally. It's not all the time, but sometimes that happens, and it makes us laugh, right?
Yeah, to be honest.
Okay, Mickey. Well, I think it was a nice conversation. We talked about some musicians, then we started talking about some types of intelligence, and it's a never-ending discussion. Very interesting,
Yeah,
very nice, but yeah.
it is so interesting. Thank you, teacher.
No, thank you very much, Mickey. So see you Monday, right?
Yeah, the next Monday, teacher.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, no problem. Thank you, Mickey. Take care. Have a nice weekend.